Hello, my name is Eleanor Hayes. I am 62 years old, and today I live in a small apartment at the edge of town. It is quiet here. Sometimes the silence feels peaceful, and sometimes it feels heavy. The rain touches the window softly, and the clock on the wall keeps perfect time, reminding me that life never stops moving forward, even when our hearts want to stay in the past. For 40 years, I was a piano teacher. Children came into my home with nervous smiles and left with music inside them. I taught them how to listen carefully, how to follow rhythm, and how to feel emotion through sound. Parents trusted me with their children, and many of my students returned years later to thank me. They said music helped them become patient, strong, and kind. People often told me I understood children very well. I believed them. I believed I knew everything about raising a child. But life taught me a painful truth. You can teach music, discipline, and kindness, yet still fail to prepare your own child for the temptations of the world. This is the story of how my daughter left me and how she found her way back. My husband, Daniel, passed away when our daughter Clara was only 5 years old. One day we were a family of 3, and the next day it was just Clara and me trying to survive together. I remember standing in our old house on Willow Lane, holding her small hand while neighbors whispered gentle words I could barely hear. The house was old and simple, but every corner held memories. In the center of the living room stood an upright piano that Daniel and I bought when we were young and hopeful. That piano became the heart of our home. Clara grew up sitting beside me on the piano bench. Her feet could not reach the floor, and her fingers were too small for the keys, but she tried anyway. She laughed whenever she made mistakes. Sometimes she leaned against me and said, "Mom, when I grow up, I'll take care of you. You won't have to work anymore." Those words gave me strength during the hardest years of my life. After Daniel died, money was always tight. I taught lessons from morning until night. My fingers ached and my back often hurt, but I never complained. I wanted Clara to have opportunities I never had. I saved every coin for her education. I wore old clothes, fixed broken furniture, and ignored my own needs so she could dream bigger dreams. Clara was bright and ambitious. She respected music, but wanted a different life. She loved numbers, business, and success. When she told me she wanted to study finance in the city, I felt proud. I believed she would build a strong future. I paid for her tuition, her books, and her apartment. Each month I sent money, even when it meant working extra hours. Watching her succeed felt like watching my own dream grow. Years passed quickly. Clara graduated with honors and found work as a real estate agent. Soon she was earning more money than I had ever imagined. She wore elegant clothes and drove a beautiful car. When she visited, she brought expensive gifts I never asked for. Then she introduced me to Victor, the man she planned to marry. Victor was polite and confident. He spoke smoothly and always smiled, yet something about him made me uneasy. His conversations always returned to money, investments, and profit. He spoke about houses the way farmers speak about crops, things to buy, sell, and replace. Still, Clara loved him, and I wanted her happiness more than anything. Their wedding was grand and bright. I cried tears of joy, believing my daughter had found security and love. But slowly, small changes appeared. Clara called less often, visits became shorter. When she came home, she no longer sat at the piano. Instead, she walked through the house studying walls, windows, and floors. Victor followed behind her, whispering numbers and possibilities. I told myself I was imagining things. Mothers worry too much, I thought. One Sunday evening, Clara and Victor came for dinner. I cooked her favorite meal, roasted chicken with herbs and warm apple pie. I wanted the house to feel welcoming, like it always had. But they barely touched the food. Victor placed his fork down and cleared his throat. "Eleanor," he began gently, "we need to discuss your future." Clara avoided my eyes. She spoke softly, saying the house was too large and too old for me. Repairs were expensive, heating costs were rising, and living alone could be dangerous. They showed me pictures of a senior residence. The rooms looked clean and modern, yet something felt empty. It looked organized, not loving. Then Victor walked toward the piano. He tapped its wooden side and laughed lightly. "This takes up so much space," he said. "It's outdated. Honestly, it's just clutter." The word clutter struck my heart like a sharp note played too loudly. "That piano is my life," I whispered. Clara remained silent. She did not defend me. That silence hurt more than Victor's words. That night, after they left, I sat in the dark and played a slow melody. My hands trembled. For the first time, I wondered if I had become a burden. 2 weeks later, they returned with papers. They said there was no pressure, only options. I went to the kitchen to prepare tea, hoping to calm my nerves. While the kettle boiled, I heard their voices through the slightly open door. "She'll sign," Clara said, excitement in her voice. Victor replied, "Once we sell, we can afford the penthouse and invest the rest. The market is perfect right now." My hands froze. Clara asked quietly whether the senior home was truly good. Victor laughed. "It's cheap, but fine. The important thing is freeing the capital from this old property." In that moment, everything became clear. My safety was never the reason. My home was an investment. I was simply an obstacle between them and wealth. I returned to the kitchen and poured the tea down the sink. My heart broke, but my mind felt strangely calm. The next morning, I told them I would sign the papers. Clara looked relieved. Victor smiled widely. But I added one condition. I would choose my own new home, and I would take the piano with me. Victor shrugged, calling it junk. 2 days later, a moving truck arrived. I packed only what truly mattered: clothes, books, photographs, and the piano. I left behind furniture, curtains, and decades of memories. When I handed Clara the keys, she promised to visit often. I looked at her gently and said, "You have what you wanted now." Then I walked away without looking back. I did not cry. Some pains are too deep for tears. My new apartment was small but peaceful. I placed the piano beside the window where sunlight touched the keys each morning. Soon, neighborhood children discovered I was a music teacher. Some families could not pay, so they brought fruit, bread, or homemade soup instead. Music returned to my life. Laughter returned. Slowly, so did peace. I did not contact Clara, and she did not contact me. Months passed quietly. Then rumors reached me. Victor's investment failed. The project was fraudulent. Money disappeared overnight. Debt followed quickly. Victor left Clara and vanished. The house was sold to cover losses. Everything she once valued was gone. One rainy evening, a soft knock sounded at my door. When I opened it, Clara stood there. She wore a simple coat, her hair wet from rain. Her confident posture was gone. She looked tired, older, and afraid. She expected rejection. Instead, I stepped aside. "Come in," I said softly. Inside, she looked around my small apartment and saw the piano shining near the window. We sat together in silence while I prepared tea. Finally, Clara began to cry. She apologized again and again, admitting she had been blinded by ambition and fear of failure. She confessed she lost the house, the money, and her marriage. "I wanted to throw the piano away," she whispered. "Now it's the only thing that feels real." I listened quietly. Forgiveness does not arrive instantly. Trust, once broken, carries scars. But when I looked at her, I no longer saw betrayal alone. I saw my little girl, the child who once promised to care for me. I placed my hand gently on her shoulder. "You lost many things," I told her, "but you did not lose your chance to begin again." Clara moved in with me soon after. She found work at a nearby bakery. The job was simple and tiring, yet she smiled more than before. Without luxury or pressure, she began to rediscover herself. Sometimes in the evenings we sit together at the piano. Her fingers are slower now, unsure at first, but music returns little by little. We cook dinner together every Sunday. We talk honestly, something we stopped doing long ago. Our life is smaller, but it feels richer. Life teaches lessons no parent can teach alone. Money can create comfort, but it can also create blindness. Success without kindness becomes empty very quickly. Families are imperfect. We hurt each other, sometimes deeply, yet forgiveness gives us another chance to love correctly. You can sell a house, lose wealth, and rebuild a career. But love, once abandoned, is much harder to recover. Thankfully, love does not disappear forever. It waits quietly, hoping someone will return and ask for it again. Today, my apartment is filled with music, laughter, and second chances. When rain falls against the window and the clock ticks softly, I no longer feel lonely. I feel grateful. Thank you for listening to my story. If you love your parents or your children, tell them today. Do not wait for regret to teach you what love already knows. Please like and subscribe for more stories. And I want to ask you something. Have you ever forgiven someone who truly hurt you? Tell me in the comments. I read every message. Goodbye, and take care of your heart.